Here's the truth about home prices in Dallas. They're down. Not only are they down in most areas and in most price points, but also you're able to get more incentives from sellers. You're able to find better loan programs, specifically covering your fees, potentially getting you a lower rate, maybe no private mortgage insurance, and definitely some better terms as far as how much you get to put down or what kinds of extra costs that you have to pay. So if you're thinking that you want to buy in the fall of 2025, I think it's a great time to buy. Prices are down, there's loan programs available, and if you find the right pocket of home, you're gonna get a great deal. You're gonna lock in your payment, and you're gonna feel very comfortable having your own home, finally unlocking that freedom and stability by having your own place. So if this is your first time to buy, if you're thinking about buying for the first time, be thinking about what are the areas that I wanna buy, and then watch for homes that have been on the market for 30, 60, 90 days. Many times those sellers are in a better situation to, if they've owned their home for several years or maybe 10 or 15 years, they could lower their price. They might be willing to if they're in a desperate situation. And so you're able to find more opportunity. But then also if you can pair some of those specialty lending programs that I've talked about in other videos, but I'd be happy to send you more information on if you reach out to me. You can pair some of those specialty lending opportunities, you can get a really great payment. You can get a really affordable home, affordable payment in a house, and then have that payment locked in. Now, of course, everyone always says, wait a couple years and then you can refinance and your payment will get lower, and that could be true as well. But at a minimum, you could go ahead and lock in that lower price because there's many homes that have been sitting on the market. We're seeing an abundance of inventory coming on from the summer, and it's a supply and demand thing. When you see a bunch of inventory come on and additional buyers don't show up as well, that means that we've got more supply than we have demand. Now, some people might be freaking out saying, oh my goodness, the market's going to crash. Well, I think that's necessarily true. The supply has not increased that significantly. The demand has just stayed consistent over the last year or two. As interest rates have been up, prices have been up, there's not as much demand from buyers, but the supply had been low as well, which had kept prices high. Now supply has increased steadily, and that means that prices are able to come down. That's just the natural law of economics. So supply has gone up, meaning more inventory, more homes for sale. Demand has stayed constant, meaning buyers that are demanding homes to purchase. And with that increased supply and consistent demand, we're seeing prices drop a little bit here and there. And especially in homes that maybe aren't that pretty or perfect or don't meet exactly what every buyer is looking for. So if you're willing to take on a home that just needs a little bit of elbow grease, a little bit of hard work, a little bit of renovation, a little bit of paint, we're seeing some great deals. I just helped a client get into an awesome home with a ton of equity and even some repairs done by the seller, as well as closing costs paid by seller and lender, and allowed them to get into a home for only $2,000 down. That was with a specialty lending program, like I mentioned, but the price was down. The seller ended up selling the home for over $100,000 less than they originally wanted, which meant that this buyer got a great deal by waiting. They didn't buy it the first week on the market. They waited and they bought the home after it'd been on the market for several months, and then they got an amazing deal. So if you're thinking about purchasing in the fall, you want to be watching for homes that have been sitting for a while. You might even find some homes that the seller really needs to sell and they're willing to make a great deal for the buyer. Just want to give you a little bit of update on that. The prices are down a little bit and it's a great time to buy.